NFL, we talked about the greatness of Aaron Rodgers and how he's really, picked
Turned
it up over the last
big
few
time.
weeks, which I wanted to see. You never doubted. I wanted to see it.
And you've seen it now, right? That dialogue is done for now.
I think he listens to the Odd Couple, and I think he said, all right, it's time to
this
pick
is for
it up.
Chris?
Yeah,
okay.
It's something. But anyway, a team that now you like to brag that you didn't pick the Browns to make the playoffs.
But I'm saying that it was a popular pick. Would you give me that most people picked the Browns?
Yes, and I'll tell you what.
Most people not only picked the Browns, they picked them to win the division.
Well,
before Big Ben got hurt.
I picked them to be a wild card.
No, not you.
Now,
but
Look, here's the thing, though. The AFC is pretty darn forgiving.
I got it.
And especially the AFC North. Now, Baltimore looks like they're going to win it, but the Browns are not, believe it or not, they're not out of it. Now, I'm not saying they're going to have some – actually, they might have a little run. They got the Broncos.
No, they got a lot of easy
Joe
teams
Flacco.
coming up.
They got Buffalo, who is pretty good, but I don't believe in them. They got the Steelers, the Dolphins, the Steelers again, the Bengals, the Cardinals, then the Ravens, and the man, their schedule, I mean, I don't think they will. But it is not out of the realm of possibility that they could run the table.
The only reason I'm saying right now, I'm talking about the way that they play. Forget the schedule. If you're going to turn the ball over, Chris, if you have a quarterback who's a interception machine, if you keep doing the dumb penalties and picking up a baker's dozen of dumb penalties, you're not going to win a lot of games. I don't care who you're playing. So, yes, do they have an opportunity given the schedule? Sure. But until they play better and until they get coached better, they're not going to win. Watch. And then people say, well, now if they do go through the schedule and just play 500, they've dug themselves.
Not 500.
Right, they've dug themselves such a hole.
Right, they got to
play like 8-2.
Right. Well,
they don't even have 8
really
games. How many got 8 games?
Lose one game. I mean, they're
That's what I'm saying.
2-5. One loss would give them 10-6. So 8-1.
That's where you are. That's how tough it is.
And it's not impossible. I mean, the Bengals twice, the Steelers twice. I know Steelers is a rivalry.
But you might split with
the
them.
Bills,
You know what I'm
the
saying?
Dolphins, the Broncos, the Cardinals.
But those teams might be playing for jobs at that point in the season, and then that's where you get those games where you look and go, how did the Dolphins beat them? Fitzpatrick, right? He's trying to get a gig for next year, Chris, right? He might put up those numbers. He might have a magic kind of a game against them. I'm just saying.
Why aren't you this pessimistic with the Jets?
No, the Jets, they got
You picked the Jets. You thought this avant-garde, cutting edge.
Can we stick with the topic right now?
I know things you don't know.
Well, but I
go out on limbs, and the Jets are going to make – you thought you were so proud of yourself.
Yes,
I thought you predicted the Jets.
I did. I like what they did in the offseason, but it didn't work out. I'm wrong. I'm good with that.
So you're already conceding it. All right. So you mentioned playing for your job. Is Freddie Kitchens, Rob? We just talked with Steve Weiss, great NFL reporter for the NFL Network. He said that Freddie Kitchens deserves a lot of blame for the state of the Browns. I agree. Here's what I would do with Freddie Kitchens, Rob. I would let him finish the year. I wouldn't, there's no need to fire him right now. I mean, unless it just gets completely out of hand.
Like they lose to a really,
say they
lose to a really bad team or something and they get embarrassed.
Well, I would, beyond something egregious, beyond a group of players, a group of top players just totally calling him out and publicly saying, look, we're not doing the right things. This is ridiculous. Beyond it getting out of control.
Right.
Off the field. I would keep Freddie Kitchens. And here's what I'm saying. Give him this year. You get this year. And Freddie, I'm looking at the schedule. And I just read it. It's easy from this point on. It's not okay. It's not mediocre. It's easy. And I know that the players, for all of their flaws, for all of Odell's pageantry and all that he brings, right, for all of Baker's mouth, for all of the problems, the inexperience, the immaturity, The players have talent. The players can play. And when I look around the NFL, I recognize that coaches, more than any other sport, any of the major sports, Rob, a coach in football has a greater degree of impact than basketball and baseball.
No doubt about it.
Right?
Well, because they figure out what the scheme is. What are you running? Are you a 4-3? Are you a 3-4? Are you a running team? Are you a passing team? Do you blitz a lot? What's our how do we play football? So
they set the culture.
Exactly.
And I mean, we can just look at it. Bill Belichick, they got injuries all the time. They still win. Andy Reid immediately goes to Kansas City and turns that franchise around.
And immediately loses a big game when
with
he gets
San
there.
Francisco.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Frank Reich with the Colts. They lose Andrew Luck. They're still winning. You see the difference that coaches make in the NFL, period. And so if I'm giving Freddie Kitchens this year, you might say, oh, that's only 1 year. No, I'm giving you this year. If you don't turn it around during this stretch of 9 easy games, then you're out, and I'm bringing in a coach that I believe can turn it around immediately. Matt LaFleur. Look at Green Bay. Not that they were bad. They had some talent. But look at what he's done.
They're 7-1.
Right. And so that's my point. There are coaches that can come into the NFL and turn you around immediately. And when I've got OBJ, when I've got Jarvis Landry, when I've got Myles Garrett, when I've got Nick Chubb, I mean, listen to the talent. Baker Mayfield, for all as bad as he may look right now, I don't question he can be a good quarterback.
But
I may question he's going to be a superstar. But you can win with him, I believe.
Yeah, you probably could win, but not the way he's playing currently. Because
no, he looks bad.
It's been a bad stretch for a long period of games now. We're not talking about 8 games. We're talking
all year
about
for the most part. I mean, he's had little moments, but for
what
the
does
most
he
part,
have,
he's been
Rob?
bad.
Something like 25 or 6 interceptions in the last 20 or 21 games.
Right.
It says bad. That's bad.
But, Rob, that's what my view would be. If I'm John Dorsey, that's how I would be looking at it. What would you do with Kitchens?
I think they're probably they're going to obviously, Chris, let him finish the year. But if this thing bottoms out and you lose to the Dolphins or you lose to 1 or 2 bad teams in games that you might need at that point to stay in the wild card race, and maybe it's a bad penalty. I'm not talking about it's the way that you coach, because that's coaching.
They lead the league in penalties.
Right. Stuff like that. I'm saying if, say, you got you lose a game on that, then you got to say this dude hasn't gotten through, because the players don't fear him. They still making the same dumb penalties that they were making earlier in the year. We're at the halfway point of the season. So I think that the GM will have to look at it and maybe determine, can we upgrade? Who else is out there? We have a talented roster. We all agree the roster's talented.
That's what I'm saying.
That's not the issue.
If the roster has talent, and then what's the problem? It's got to be the coach.
The coach and the quarterback has regressed. You got to say
but
that.
But has he regressed?
Regressed?
Because I don't think he's getting great coaching.
Okay, but he
has regressed.
He's regressed.
His
definitely.
performance has regressed.
And then last year, and this was my biggest knock against Baker Mayfield, is that they won 7 games. 6 of those games came against bad teams. There was one team that finished over 500. That was Baltimore. They beat them 12-9. Joe Flacco was so bad he lost his job off of that game.
Right.
That was the only game that they won of significance. So you have to look at, and now is that going to be a repeat, Chris? This end of the year where they're playing and then they put up numbers, and then you go, oh, well,
but you know what?
Look, they were pretty good. They wound up finishing strong. No, they didn't play anybody.
In that repeat, though, Rob, that repeat could get them into the playoffs.
No, I'm saying it could.
But you're right, because the teams they've lost to, I mean, the Titans, they got blown out.
And that was ridiculous at home.
That was horrible. They beat the Jets. They lost to the Rams. They beat the Ravens. They lost to the 49ers. They lost to the Seahawks. They lost to the Patriots. So they had, to your point, they have not been able to beat good teams.
Right, and other
than the Ravens, who I don't know how good they are.
But they're good right now.
Yeah.
Right. And here's the other part. If you follow that pattern, you'll never do anything in the playoffs because you only play good teams. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So you can feast all you want on bad teams, Chris, during the regular season. At some point, you're going to face a team, and you got to be able to beat a good team. You need to be able to go on the road and take one from somebody.
But last year, they didn't have the same talent.
No, they got talent this year.
So,
but that's the
if they get
disappointing
on a
part.
roll, Rob, if they get on a roll and beat up on these teams that they've got coming up and make the playoffs, I think they would go into it with confidence. And I think even if they would face a good team, I think they'd be able to compete and maybe beat them. I'm not saying they can win the AFC, but I'm just saying I don't think they'd be completely overmatched.
No, I'm not saying
against
that.
a good team in the playoffs.
Unless your quarterback's playing the way he is. That would be my only thing.
No, he's got to pick it up.
He hasn't played well enough for them to win.
Yeah.
And like you said, Chubb doesn't fumble the ball. He just had a horrific afternoon yesterday.
Right.
But he normally, Chris, doesn't fumble the football. So I'm not looking at that as a pattern for him. But the 25 interceptions over the 20 games or whatever it is now, I don't know exactly. That's a bad sign. That's a long, we always talk about how much of a litmus test we have or how much we got a lot. 20 games is a lot.
Right. Yeah, I mean, what they need, and again, I'm giving him the season to prove it. But what you need is a coach who's proven enough that he demands the respect of the players, that he can come in and set a culture and the guys are going to be on their P's and Q's. Or you need a young hotshot that while he walks in, he may not, they don't know him from Adam. They may not know whether or not he's good or not, but he's a hot shot, a Sean McVay, a Matt LaFleur, a guy that knows the game and has knows offense. And he earns your respect. Like Matt LaFleur probably earned Aaron Rodgers' respect. And that's the type of coach they need. Is Freddie Kitchens that guy? I don't see him in either one of those categories. But I would give him the season to prove it. What do you think? 877-99 on Fox, 877-996-6369. Who deserves most of the blame for the Browns' struggles this season? Freddie Kitchens or Baker Mayfield? Your turn to weigh in. We continue the conversation with you next. It's The Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio. Let's start with DeAndre in Akron. All right, the local guy, he should have a strong opinion.
Yes.
DeAndre, welcome to The Odd Couple.
Thank you very much. Definitely Freddie Kitchens should be fired 100%. He should have been fired the first game of the season.
No, you can't do that.
First game of the season. Well, they
Absolutely.
did get embarrassed.
No,
Here's
it was,
the
but you
thing.
can't do that.
Nah.
Here's the thing about it. He's not up to the job at all. And here's my question for you guys, because when they hired Freddie Kitchens, it reminded me of Dave Black. Why is it every time a Cleveland team has some serious talent, we go and find the least experienced head coach we can find?
That's a good point.
Well, I'm going to give you, I respect John Dorsey. He obviously did a very good job in Kansas City.
Yeah.
And he's got talent there. But you do wonder why did you go this route?
But this is my problem. And the reason he got the job is because all the experienced coaches who came in, Chris, Dorsey said, you got to keep Kitchens. You're not going to take a job. No, I'm not taking. He might not be who I want.
Right.
I
got my guys.
Right.
Yep.
Even though he did well with Baker Mayfield. Right.
They had
but
a good
but you can't make me take him. Right.
And Rob,
and I think that's why they wound up settling for Kitchens, because nobody would take him. Nobody.
Rob, you may have experienced this as a beat writer. I covered in my years of being an NBA beat writer. I'm not going to name names. There's one time where the coach got fired during the season. Everybody was sick of him. They were glad he was gone. The assistant moves over 12 inches to sit in the head coach's chair and does a great job. The guys love him. They start winning games. They still don't make the playoffs. They were so far out. But, they're playing well. The players like him.
Right.
He's a player's coach. So they bring him back the next year, and it was a disaster. Because just because the players are buddy-buddy with you and they're happy that the other guy is gone and the season's over, we got nothing to gain or lose, and we're playing free, that doesn't necessarily mean this guy's going to be a great head coach.
I think that's what we saw right here with Kitchens. What about Mike in Kentucky? You're on The Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Mike?
Not a lot. Listen to you guys every night. Love the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, I personally believe that it is all on Freddie Kitchens. If you look at what they did last year under Greg Williams, completely different team.
Some people thought it was going to be Greg Williams, and they liked.
I would have been fine with Greg
But maybe
Williams.
Greg Williams didn't want to keep Kitchens.
I 100% agree. Because
Right?
to me, Freddie Kitchens just does not have the determination to lead Baker Mayfield in the direction he needs to go.
The way that they're playing, I told you before, it's more like Freddie Bathroom. It's just not bad. It's stinky. All right.
Fred
Appreciate the call.
Kitchen, I don't think he commands respect. And that's a team with a lot of personalities. You got to have somebody to control it. Let's go to Kevin in South Carolina. You're on with the Odd Couple.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead, Kevin.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of Freddie Kitchens and a little bit of Baker Mayfield. I think people forget about when they fired Hugh Jackson last year and, how Baker he was showing his tail.
Not kind of,
Right,
Kevin.
not
Don't even
kinda.
say kind of. He was totally disrespectful to a man who had lost his gig, and there was no reason for it. And he just wouldn't let it go. And you know what? There is some karma. Let the guy go, move on. He just lost his gig, his livelihood.
My thing is, if you're going to talk like that, you got to back it up.
And he didn't
you're
do
not
it.
backing it up.
Let's go to Trucker Don up in Boston. You're on the Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio.
That's our man. Thank you, brother. We love that.
Hey, guys. Love you guys. Love the show. Chris,
Thank
Rob,
you.
I love you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, first take on the Browns. You agree that 8 wins is actually conceivable, not probable, but conceivable in the next 8 games. So if they go 6-2, they're 8-8, right where a second-year quarterback should be.
Yeah,
You know
well,
what I'm saying?
That's the quarterback.
Don, that's true
But
if he
let's
would have
face
bounced
it.
back.
Right. Let's face it, Don. I don't think they're out of it. I really don't, because their division is so bad.
I think they're out of it, Don,
Exactly.
from this standpoint that Baker hasn't played well enough. Now, unless he starts to play better, I'm talking about based on what
I
I've
just have
seen.
belief that he can. You're right, Rob. He hasn't, but I think he can. Let's go to Al in Wichita, Kansas. Al, you're on with Chris and Rob.
Hey, what's going on? I like to give y'all big shout-outs. Keep up the good work. Me and my father, we listening in. But I was
Thanks,
weighing
Al.
in-
Hey,
weighing
Al,
I got
what's
love
your-
for Wichita, too.
Oh, there
Real
you go.
talk.
You live there,
I
too?
lived in Iowa for 2 years, so I know people probably diss Wichita, but nah, Wichita gets live,
Hey,
right?
hey,
Right, Al? Am I wrong?
Hey, look, like I told God before, I'm a Minnesota Skull. I'm going to Kansas City. We're going to run down Kansas City back. But the topic that we was on was about Baker Mayfield. I feel like the Cleveland Browns need to holler at their GM. They shouldn't blame their first-round pick. Let's talk about the players that y'all got. Y'all went and got Landry. Y'all went and got, OBJ.
Hold on, they got
Y'all
good players.
went-
You don't think they have good players?
No, I'm not saying that they don't have good players. I'm saying we shouldn't put everything. The Browns as a organization shouldn't put everything on Baker's back, because
Okay, I agree with that.
they
What about
went,
Kitchens?
They went
What
out
about
and
Kitchens?
signed multi-players.
What about Kitchens?
What about
The
them?
coach.
If you can't do what you're supposed to do, then you need to move around.
All right.
See,
All right.
We with that.
Thanks, Al. Appreciate it. Max in Georgia. You're on the Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Max?
Hey, what's up, Rob? Happy Magic City Monday to you. And
Yes.
Chris, happy birthday to you.
Thank you, my man. Appreciate it.
Hey, you guys are killing it like always. I just wanted to say I think you're right. Terrible division, so they're lucky for that. I see them losing at the Broncos. I see the Steelers probably getting them in one of the games.
Right,
I
a
see the
split.
Ravens. So my worry and shock is only one receiving touchdown between both those great receivers, Landry and Beckham.
Right.
That's
Something's wrong there.
unbelievable halfway through the
Unbelievable.
And
season.
here's the thing, and we heard Steve White say it too. If this continues, somebody's about to go off.
No, right. OBJ has got to
Jarvis,
be.
somebody's about to go off.
Is he not at the tipping point? I came to Cleveland for this.
Right. I mean, it's bad enough I had to leave New York for Cleveland, and I'm
Right.
saying that as a Clevelander. Now I'm losing?
Right.
I can be here if I'm winning.
And I'm not getting any balls.
Right.
I'm not
even putting up numbers. Like, I'm not going to be all pro. Right?
He's
Come
gonna
on.
be wearing a watch, but it's gonna be a Timex. right, wait a minute.
This is Rob
Sam,
Parker's material for those that want to.
Sam, do you know what a Timex
at the
is? See, look at that.
I don't even know what it is.
That's how old we
That's
are,
how
Alex.
cheap it is.
You don't know what a Timex is?
I have no idea.
Rob G?
Is that a sundial? A different name for a sundial or what?
Oh, wow.
All right, it's gone from bad to worse, and I'm not talking about Rob
My
Parker's jokes.
Now that's funny.
That's a rim shot. See how I get him without even trying? You ain't had a rim
You
shot
had
in
to
like
ask.
3 months. You haven't had a rim shot in 3 months.
Craig Melvin's been laughing at all my jokes now. Thanks, Craig.
Every time I hear that, I'm cracking up.
I didn't think anything was going to be close to Kawhi, and you know what? Those are like
Kawhi
neck
who?
and neck.
Because it was such a kiss, right?
It was so bad.
It was a kiss
so
butt.
a kiss up. Oh,
Right.
my gosh. Hey, it's The Odd Couple. I'm Chris. He is Rob. And we want to encourage all of you to subscribe to our YouTube channel.
That's right. You know, you can listen to us on the radio, and now you can watch us as well, and it's fun.